Hello, guys, and welcome to the review of episode 7, season 1 of Rings of Power. It's me, Chiazo, alongside Priscilla. Priscilla, how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, good, 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 good. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Rings of Power
Oh,
Day.
how's it?
Uh,
Long live the rings.
um, trust me, trust me, trust me. So, as usual, straight into it, immediate reaction for episode 7. Yeah, I'm with you.
I.
I'm with you. Honestly, like I know audience, she's not saying anything, but I'm with her.
Head empty. Like there's like Curious George question symbols in my head.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
gonna. Like I have got no positive, no negative, just zero thoughts. I don't know what I think of it. Um, it's the like with the other episodes there was always like a vitriol, like yes, a vitriol, no.
yeah.
I came out of this one like I don't know. I
It,
don't know
it's
where I
it
stand.
it was a funny one. And as we go through it, we'll the reasons for that should become um a bit more apparent. So for me, yeah, I feel. Look, I think it was an average episode. I'll just say it straight away. For something that should have been the penultimate episode, and remember, we argued that last week's episode, I mean, was easily the best episode, but also could have been the finale. So the fact this episode exists, arguably, they're sort of doing the thing that we had in episodes 2 and 3, where you're wondering how much this was actually needed, and maybe it could have, I don't know, just not been there. I mean, to be honest, or maybe should have been the start of the final episode for it to, for all the events that happened in here to be an episode itself. Not great, and I am disappointed because they really showed us what they're capable of in the last episode that you and I were both enthusiastic about. But this is it's a one step forward, two steps back. I think.
That's what this entire season's been. Like, there's only been one real bad episode in this show. The fourth
Mm.
episode. Was it fourth? Was it the fourth?
I think it's the fourth, or yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was the fourth, where it was like this is
Yeah.
halfway, and it's like it's not looking good, bruv.
Yes, yes. It's not looking good, Brev. No,
It's not
like
looking
that's the only episode that's been bad. It's generally been like a 6 out of 10 show. And
yeah,
that's more risky than anything because if you're really bad, then you're really bad, and I can cope with you being really bad. I can just vibe and watch it, like I
yeah.
do with Fast and Furious. I know I'm not getting Oscar-winning writing. I'm just seeing cars crashing, and I can have a good time and just remove all thoughts in my head. If it's really
Oh,
good, I'm so excited about watching it. 'Cause I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. When it's average, like it's so hard because like you're not forcing a reaction out of me
yeah.
on either side. It's very much like I'll
It
watch it. Like that's how it feels.
No, that's actually a perfect. That's a perfect description. And as ever, because because of you and I, there has to be a football analogy in there. So I'm going to go for it. It's kind of like watching non-league football. So when you talk about, and obviously massive respect to non-league footballers, but when you watch non-league football, you kind of know what you're going to get. You know that you're not getting top professional football, you're getting what it is, and that way it's going to be enjoyable. It's the same thing with Fast and Furious. You know, it's not a serious movie, so you're like, yeah, I can deal with this. I can deal with the cliches and stupid action scenes and things like that. But then when you watch Premier League football, yeah, Premier League football can be really bad. I'm sorry, really good. But what we don't like is watching, you know, players try and fail. It's like, no, you're a top level footballer. What are you doing? And what we're seeing from this Lord of the Rings is what should be Premier League players trying, but just not getting it right. And it's far less. It makes it far less enjoyable. So, yeah, I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, the only way to describe it, like United fans or any Jose Mourinho fans will understand, is it's like the start of third season Jose, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, and it gets pretty
it's
painful.
then it gets pretty painful, and I just hope that it doesn't get painful because I think what was annoying, I think what was frustrating about this was that last week's episode was one of the best TV I've watched this year, and
Yeah,
there's been a lot of good TV this year.
it has
Succession's
been.
been on, Industry's been on, like so many TV shows, White Lotus and all that. All those shows have been on, and that's one of the best things I've seen on TV this year. And to follow it up with this, bear in mind there were very what made this episode even more annoying is that there was a particular subplot in this episode that was brilliant.
Mm.
If we're on the right, if our synchronization is
Uh,
like if it's perfect, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's the only one. Like the one subplot involving, and it's always involving my dogs. They never let me down.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
brilliant. Actually, no, two. Let me be fair. Two
Okay.
were very good. Okay, let me not stop calls around in circles and let me give the people the tea. Like the Southland stuff was shite. The one thing I was excited for watching, pardon my French, but the one thing we were looking forward to when Mount Doom, when everything like imploded, we were literally screaming.
Yeah.
The end of the last week's episode, and how can that subplot, the most interesting part of the episode, that it pivots, it centers on that, is dead. Yet the Harfoot stuff was so good, and the and
Yep.
Durin stuff was so good with Elrond and him getting kicked out and all this stuff. That was brilliant. It's so annoying when they kept going back to the south. I was like, no, 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 no. Take it back.
I'm not
Let me
trying to
see them
see.
drunk
I'm not
people.
trying to see all
I ain't
that.
trying to see that, man. Give me back. Let me see Durin, man. What's Durin the fourth doing? Let's see what he's doing. Show me Elrond.
Exactly.
Show me
Exactly.
Nori, show me the stranger. Like I was getting so agitated. Like the only good thing about Southlands was the ending, and it was said when it revealed what it actually was, modern day. Obviously, what we know in the third age is what
I
is.
actually see. It's funny. It's funny because I actually had a problem with the way it ended, and I'll explain it. I'll explain it when we get there. Let's we've teased the audience enough. Let's get into our usual format because, as usual, when we watch these shows, there are three different episodes happening at the same time, basically, and we usually choose our least enjoyable to the most enjoyable, and this is the first time this season the Southlands is coming up first because what the hell was that? But let's get into it. Let's get into it. So obviously we see Galadriel wake up in what is now Mordor. The volcano has gone off. They're giving us that Mexican undertone thing where everyone's like tinged yellow and orange for effect.
Someone said it looked like post 9/11. It really did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what they were going for. The soot and yeah. It wasn't pretty to look at. And then they had the horse on fire, which is a bloody cliche, by the way. So many movies love that one. I'm not sure why. When there's a disaster, then there's always a horse on fire running. I don't know.
I
It
think it's
must
the,
be.
the whole it's the whole biblical revelation thing, in Revelations when the white horse thing, they love tapping into that, man.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's such
a
a.
lot of
It's
fantasy shows do that a lot. It's either a
yeah.
white horse
Yeah.
or a horse on fire. It's like a biblical Christian thing,
Okay, well, more power to them. I guess we needed to see that. So this is what I mean. I'm going to be bad vibes. I'm going to be bad vibes. I was
No,
not happy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I'm not coming
Um,
in with no good vibes.
then we've got obviously there's a bit of a rescue mission going on. We see that one of Isildur's friends is dead. We get a lot of shots of people on fire, missing limbs. Someone's face was basically barbecued. I don't know if you've ever used those George Foreman grills where you press the thing in. That's what my man's face was looking like.
It looked like them. He looked like one of them clickers in The Last of Us. I was like,
Yeah,
bruh,
yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah.
where's
So like, yeah,
Joel?
very clear, very clear that it's a mess, and like everyone's been separated, and we find there was I mean, unfortunately, it was a bit boring, like, because the only thing they really showed was like, okay, yeah, I get the destruction, the violence, okay, we get that, we get that, we get that. But then there was a lot of exposition between Theo and Galadriel, and it's like we heard the orcs in the background, but I'm like, is that not the perfect time to come and attack these survivors? We've got Galadriel saying things like, we might make a soldier out of you yet, and then we get no action. Like, the orcs now have the cover of Mount Doom, and yeah, we don't get any action. We get Galadriel repeating that her brother's dead. We know your brother's dead. We know you don't want to be evil. We know, you're looking for Halbrand because you're not quite sure who he is. It was, Aaron, and then we've got Arondir being a stepdad again. I mean, there's just nothing. There's nothing about this segment. I mean, what
No,
do you
no.
have to
I'll
say
be
about
fair. I'll be fair.
it? Okay,
What was
go on.
interesting was seeing Malerion, the Queen Regent, losing her vision and knowing what that could lead to. That was very interesting. I'll give it that, because it more interesting in the sense of what that could lead to later on, rather than in that specific episode. Because it could be a whole King Rohan vibe, like in the
Hmm.
original, like in the books and in the
Yeah,
trilogy, where your side man basically, or in this case, it'll be Farazan, can now use this as a position of power because he can now tell she can't see nothing.
yeah. You can now tell her what to
She can
do.
tell her whatever
But
what to do.
the reason, see, okay, there's two reasons I didn't bring that up, because I promise it's in my notes. My notes are in front of me, and I didn't bring it up. I ended up putting loads of question marks on it. I wish I could like screenshot and like show the audience, but like basically, I'm being so serious, because there were two things with that. One, so the idea that, okay, she's blind now, and what you've just said is a projection, like a guess. It's like, oh, okay, maybe it means da 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 da. You're doing the writer's job for them. We're just like left to, what if like someone could have looked at that and maybe didn't come up with the idea that you had, for example, and we don't even know if your idea is going to be correct. We don't know if it's a callback to the Peter Jackson trilogy and all that stuff. So I'm like, just and that's not. I'm not being bad vibes, I promise. But that's not the worst part. So Amazon, they've always got a preview of the next episode that auto plays as soon as you're done, and we see her in the next episode, and it can't. I'm not going to class it as a spoiler because it's literally in the teaser. Her eyes are restored. So what was that
Oh, I
for?
didn't see the tease. I didn't see the teaser for the next episode. Oh, that's probably
So sorry. So that's
oh.
what I put, and I'm
But yeah,
apologies to.
that's a whole load of bullshit there. Sorry
Then what
again.
exactly was the point? Or did they just put the worst teaser of all time? Like, does the producer need to be sacked? Like, I don't know. Like, even if her eyes do get restored, like, why show us that? I mean, you made her blind us like a whole thing. Um, and she's like,
Stressing, thinking she can't see and all this rubbish, and then she can see. No, so she can see clearly now. The rain has gone.
yeah. She can see clearly now the smoke is gone, the smoke of Mordor's gone. So
But no, do you
I'm
know what?
sorry. You tried to
This
give
show's
them something, but
stupid.
I had to take it away. I had to get VAR involved because it's
No,
mad.
VAR, VAR.
No, VAR, bro. No, no goal, no
This is
goal.
Man
Go
City,
bro.
Tottenham again.
Trust me. Oh my days. So
Now my head's hot
look,
now.
look. Do you know what? The only positive, yeah, is the Queen Regent and Gladriel looked peng. And that's all I've got. That's all I've got. I even there was one thing
No,
though.
no. There's one thing. There's one thing.
Okay, you go.
Isildur's whole thing. She can. Let me not lie. This guy has been the bane of my life the entire show, apart from the one episode. And it's hard because I found the guy attractive in a weird way. But I liked the whole like his dad actually worrying about him, because
Yeah, yeah,
this sounds bad, mind, but I feel like his dad has sort of taken advantage of how constant he's been. Like he
yeah,
messes
yeah.
up, but he's always there. So it was actually kind of nice to see him like clock like, oh, wow, where's my son?
Yeah,
Like,
but
because that was the only thing I liked, because it just revealed. Because when I was in this, when the Southlands bit, I didn't feel. Oh, like last week when you felt the human reaction to everything, I didn't feel any human empathy. That sounds so sick, and I'm a psychologist, but I didn't mean it that way. I mean, there was no, they didn't show any human empathy there for me to feel sorry for someone. And then when it
yeah,
came to his little bits and pieces, I thought, oh, right, like, it's serious. You don't know where your son is.
yeah.
That's the only time I fully clocked. Because the way everyone survived the Mount Doom's eruption, so I'm like, you can't kill one person. That one
That's what I'm
person can't
saying. I
go.
thought I thought we are gonna have a major death here, but they just gave us
If
Isildur's
we had a
made up
major
friend.
death, the major death would have boosted that from a -2 to a 4.
Yeah, because
Just
you
one
need to
major
give
death.
us stakes.
Like
You know, we
Brownwyn,
always.
I love I love the actress, but if Brownwyn died, it's huge.
Do you know
That's
what is
huge.
so funny? I watched a TV episode today which Brownwyn was in, and she died. I'm not even joking. The actor in this other show, Homeland, she died in this terrorist attack. And you know what? It caused repercussions because we cared about the character. And this, again, might sound bad vibes, but I was disappointed she was still alive. I thought maybe this is how Theo turns and
As a
stuff. You know,
man,
there was
yeah.
Galadriel talking about, because Theo says to Galadriel at one point, you know, who did they take from you? And we have to hear about her brother again. But I'm just like, you know, could that be a setup for um, maybe Brownwyn passing away? And you know what happens? You know, Theo and Arondir, these are characters that we don't, you know, actually know about, so we can do anything with them, including turning them over, you know, or not to the dark side necessarily, because they're not going to join who destroyed them, but there might be a bit more edge to them. Instead, they were doing happy families. Um, there was another character, just to kind of round off this point. There was another character where, again, I was hoping that they were dead, or missing for a reason, and that was Halbrand, where it was like
Oh yeah.
Mount Doom erupted. I would have been racking my brains if Halbrand was missing, because that would have been a perfect, oh, is he good? Is he bad? Moment that wasn't utilized. You know, we get all the way to the end of the episode and we just find out he's wounded and he's been lying in bed. And it's like, what do you want me to do with that?
Stop making me
Do you know
think
what
of
I
that.
mean? Yeah. Uh,
You're actually rattling me even
Disappointing.
more. I was
Yeah.
enjoying my Fanta, and now I can't enjoy it.
No, I mean, this is empty now. I need Igbo and Shayo, because this is mad.
I need a boat and shy hose
Oh,
quickly.
trust me. I need, like, I need good writing, man. This is, you know what I mean. Like, you know,
No, because there are.
you have to deep TV. We're giving them so many hours of our life. Like, the least you can do is make it worth it.
Like we wasted us a Friday morning. We're working people, working class people, earning a good
Yeah.
wage, paying our Amazon Prime that's overpriced Jeff Bezos, and
Oh
all
yeah.
that.
Cheers, mate.
All we ask is just good writing. Yeah,
Oh,
you showed it to me last week. You showed it to me elements of this episode. Why can't you do it consistently? Do you know what this is? Yeah, you know, that meme of Gattuso basically saying like, "Oh, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit." Literally, that's all
yeah.
this show
No,
is.
honestly.
So we've
But at
just
least
been
with
bad vibes
football,
for about 20 minutes. We've been bad vibes for 20 minutes on
yeah,
this
well,
front.
you know what? It's not our fault. It's not our fault. Blame rings of power. But okay, let's go to a slightly happier place. Not amazingly happy, but happier place. And this time, I'm going to let you decide where we're going to go. So we have the opportunity to either go to the Grove and meet up with the Harfoots, or we're going to Khazad-dûm and meet up with Durin and Elrond. Which way are we going? Bearing in mind, we usually go from worst to best in terms of segments.
Okay, we'll go Khazad-dûm.
Let's go to Khazad-dûm. Right. Okay. So obviously, we open up with Elrond asking, you know, oh no, not really, you know, my man was doing a good business deal, you know. He was
I'll give you
saying
grains of
centuries of
rice.
wood. Yeah, no, he was trading everything. He was like, he was fighting for his life, basically. Which, I mean, he technically was. Trying to strike a deal for this Mithril. And King Durin said something that I thought was interesting. I sort of agreed with, because we know the risk of digging for Mithril is they go too, they get too greedy, and they go too deep, and they wake up Balrongs, or they crush themselves because they've gone too deep into the mountain. So King Durin says, I will not risk dwarves' lives to help elves cheat death. And he seemed to suggest that this is what fate has lined up for them, and it's not for us to intervene, especially at the cost of dwarven lives, which I can't lie, that's kind of hard to argue with. But I mean, what do you think about that?
This was a situation where I sorry, all sides. I completely get where each person was coming from.
Yeah,
I completely get where King Durin was coming from. I get it because why are you gonna risk your subjects' lives, including that of your son, your heir, his life to help other people live? However, at the same time, you do need the elves. And I
yeah,
get where
yeah,
Elrond's coming from. You're looking out for you have to look out for your family, yourself, your loved ones, and all that. And you know that in order to achieve what Middle Earth needs to achieve, everyone needs to coexist at the same time. Everyone needs to be there. And obviously the elves play a huge, huge, huge role in that.
yeah,
So, and I felt sorry for Prince Durin the most
yeah,
because you could tell that he wanted to please his father, very
yeah.
much so. But at the same time, I think he knew, and Princess Dis, that's my sister. That's my girl. She was in her Lady Macbeth bag. I was
I
like,
knew you would
yes,
love. I knew you would love this. I've got a question about her. I got a question about her, and I knew I knew you'd be the person to answer it. I have got a question, but
okay.
oh, should I just ask the question? All right, let's get into that. Let's get into Disa straight away. For me, yeah, that scene where, so just to like kind of set it up. So obviously King Durin says no. Prince Durin says, surely I should help my friend, and he's sitting there, obviously sad and conflicted. He doesn't want to go against his father. And this, slides up to him, eyes wide open, saying, your father is old and decrepit, and he's slow, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And she kept going. Wait, she kept going. She said, and this kingdom is going to be ours, and we can dig for as much as we. I'm like, hold on, hold on, hold on. This is like some crazy stick talk. Look, I know. For those of you not on watching this on YouTube, Priscilla's doing the most evil nodding, agreeing face you have ever seen. I knew you'd dig that scene. I thought of you honestly when that happened. What was that? Was that just weird acting or directing, or were they telling us that this is an evil character? Like, what was up with that scene?
I think they left it grey for people to interpret
Okay.
because you could argue, because I'm gonna argue. I mean, if she was evil, I wouldn't care. Like me, I love an evil heifer. Like Cersei, I stood 10 toes
Oh
behind
my god.
Cersei.
Here we go.
Like Maleficent stood 10 toes
Oh
behind
no.
her.
Oh
Like
my
an
god.
evil woman, I ain't above all that. Like Gone Girl, Amy.
Do you know
Like
that's the
I love
scariest thing? That's the scariest thing a lady can tell me. My favorite movie was Gone Girl. That's it, bruv. I'm deleting you off all
hey yo,
social.
Amy dude. Oh, that's a woman. That's
Nah,
a
that
powerful woman
movie is
right there.
terrifying. Nah.
No, but
So, but I
I
knew
think they
you'd love
left it
that
great.
scene.
They left it great. I feel like, do you know what? I feel like she had to say that to like to her man for him to really clock the
Mm,
thing. Because I feel like if she went into it, because usually she plays it quite nice, but I
yeah,
think she knew, like, nah, like sometimes, when you're hyping up someone, yeah, and you're
yeah.
not fully believing what you're saying, but you need to like hype them up to get them
Okay.
to do something like that.
Mm,
And so if
mm.
you're gonna do something, okay, not illegal, but if you're gonna do something bad, she's like, I may not even 100% believe in what I'm saying, but I'll tell you it to gas you up. so you could do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she believed maybe 65% of what she was saying. Because I think what she was attempting to say, what she was genuinely, I think the general vibe was that at some point this guy's gonna die and you're gonna be the one to rule. So you need to
Yeah.
start taking charge and making your own decisions now. Like stop going after what he wants. Like,
Mm.
you know, you're not going to have your father to look upon when you make these decisions. It's going to be you on your own. If you want to do something and you believe in your heart it's the right thing with the right intentions, and what he's doing is crazy, and in some ways, obviously it is tempting fake. There is a massive, if we were doing a risk assessment for my health and care lot, the risk is crazy. The risk is crazy. However, you can manage that risk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's not as if you're going to do it forever. You're only doing it for a specific purpose, which is obviously to help the elves. And in helping the elves, you're aiding yourself because obviously they're going to remember what you did to help them. Then they can help you later on. Obviously, King Durin's only thing, and he has every right to think that I've only got to think about me and my own. But at the
Yeah.
same time, would it not be? I would do what obviously not Disa did. I'm too nice, but I would do. I'd make the decision to dig because I'm like, hang on a second, like scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and I
Yeah.
know we need them in the long run. If things are going to kick off, they need to exist.
Yeah.
They're going to exist. You need them. Like you can't not have them around. So yeah, I think Disa was like, I think she was on a hyping him up sort of scenario. Like she was just telling him like what's what, like and then that was the thing that made him actually go for it. It was her being in her Lady Macbeth bag, and he was like, wait a second, like yeah, she's right. Like she's actually right. Like I've got to make that decision, but I think they've left it in there. I mean, I would have. I don't think she should have been so heavy-handed in it, but I can understand why
Hmm.
they did it
Okay.
that way. But I would have said worse. I would have said worse.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I knew you would. I knew you would like that scene.
I, I'm,
I probably
I'm,
would
I'm
have
as
improvised on it. You probably had a few lines, extra
me.
lines for her.
I was like, you go, sis. You tell him. You tell him. I would have said, we can kill your dad. Like, don't worry about that.
Oh my! And then literally for them to like kiss at the end of that speech as well. I'm like, brother, did I just
Look at
sign up to
love.
kill my dad or some shit? That's
No, look at
honestly.
love.
Oh man. Well,
Who's
anyway,
Beyonce and Jay-Z in this, man? Who's Beyonce and
no,
Jay-Z?
proper Bonnie and Clyde,
Bonnie and Clyde.
partners in crime shit right there. That honestly, I thought in that moment, like that's the way the scene came across, and I know. Look, directors, there's the writers and the actors say the lines, but the directors are the ones that, okay, I want your face to look like this. It needs to sound like that. So they've seen that, they've cut that, they said safe, and they must have watched that knowing how that came across. So definitely a really interesting angle. Now to step up to make the tension even worse was I do actually, before I get to that, I do have a slight question. Again, maybe this is, I don't know if I missed this right, but there's something about this that doesn't quite make sense to me. So Elrond brings in the leaf, right, from Linden that is covered in darkness or whatever. He hands Durin back the mithril that he knows can save Linden. Prince Durin, this is, throws the mithril away, like in frustration because his dad said no. Then the mithril then touches the leaf, and the leaf is healed. And they're looking at it like they've never seen it before, and they call Elrond back. And the way that came across to me was like, did they not know what Elrond was here for in the first place? Or is that a different rock to mithril? Like, am I mad? Did that not happen?
Oh, oh, you're right. You're right. Because you know what I want to know when this bit came on, yeah. I really remember I was having a coffee. I was watching it, and I was like, wait, what? Then I was
Yeah.
like, well, I actually had to rewind. It was
Okay.
8:30 in the morning, and I had to actually. I was watching this on my commute, so I had
Okay.
to rewind and be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, isn't that not the same thing? Like, why are you all acting surprised?
Yeah.
So
What?
yeah, I don't know. I want someone to tell me Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Yeah, tell me what was going on there because I prefer not to speak. I don't know. I
Yeah,
have no
like
idea
was it just a
because it was as if
mistake?
they
Because
saw it. It was as if they saw
it
it for the first time. You're right.
yeah, no, but they already knew what it did. Do you know what I mean? So it was just really weird. It was like I was then thinking, is it that that rock wasn't mithril? Maybe it was something else that they found. Oh, actually, we don't need to dig. This new rock can take care of it because he calls Elrond back, and next thing you know, they're both digging. And I'm like, but this is what you asked to do in the first place. Like, what changed? It was really weird. And anyway, I mean, they find the mithril, and you know the way mithril's like in the walls. If you've seen Peter Jackson's extended Fellowship of the Ring, they really show what mithril looks like. Really nice. I think they kind of do the same sort of music as well. Don't know if you noticed that, but like there is a mithril theme when mithril is spoken about. Sort of angelic harmonic thing you sort of hear, and obviously we then know King Durin catches them and basically, you know, says like, "I'm taking your birthright off you." He snatches his chain. He said, "Come get your chains back, blood."
Come
Like
and get your chains back, man. Look,
he
leave like
said,
nine.
"The new thing, blood." Yo,
Yo, he said like what film is it when he snatches back like, oh man,
yeah. Oh my
send
days.
me
No,
back my shit.
he yeah. That's exactly because he was like, you know, you're my son.
He
I
got
gave you
Jon
my
Snow.
name.
He
Yeah,
got Jon Snow.
yeah.
He got sent to the wall.
That's what I'm saying. He said, "Don't touch it. That's not yours anymore." I'm like, rotted, because he was like, "Look, to be fair, Prince Durin made a point. He was like, you expect me to, and you know, maybe this is a whole something you probably know a lot better than me, but a parent projecting onto their child in every single way, including giving their name, but at the same time expecting them to behave exactly like them, and having a
That
problem when they
is
go outside of
yes.
the plan. You know, Project Mbappe, but you're balling like Per Mertesacker. No, I love Per. Let me use somebody else. You're balling like Craig Dawson, shit guy, I played for Spurs. It's like, what's going on? I had big plans for you.
No, literally, that's exactly what was going on. Like I call it the Coach Bolton Syndrome. If you remember
Okay,
the
interesting.
award-winning, Oscar-winning, lovely musical that was High School Musical. Troy Bolton's dad
Oh,
literally projected his entire life dream onto Troy, and Troy was like, "No, man, I just want to sing and play ball and be with my girl." And like I think King Durin has an idea of what he wants Prince Durin to be, but Prince Durin ain't that guy, and that's not an indictment on him. Like Prince
yeah,
Durin wants to work with the elves. Like he doesn't want to be like you and only focus on yourselves and protect it. Because I think King Durin's more like if we don't mix in with other people, there's less risk of us getting harmed. Like let's just
yeah.
protect ourselves. Whereas Prince Durin's like, no, I want to be open. I want to talk to people. I want to have relationships that, like, and sort of be like a modernized version of what we are and build relationships so we can use that later on down the line. And King Durin's
Mm,
very fixated on the past. And I think
yeah.
it's like it's a push and pull thing of two different ideologies. Like Prince
I,
Druid is a risk taker and wants to do things, and even if I fail somewhat, if I still achieve my goal at the end of the day, I've done something right. Whereas King Druid's more like risk averse. I don't want to take any steps necessary that's gonna harm us. And he has every right. A Balrog is scary, man. It's scary.
and
They're
we did.
scary, and we saw one. They
We get to
scared the
see
living
one.
when I first watched Lord of the Rings, when I read the books, yeah, and they describe it, you can imagine it in your head, but it's not. I was a kid when I read those books. Obviously,
Okay,
I
yeah.
read them as adults and stuff, but you can imagine it and it's scary in your head. When I first saw it at like 5 or 6, when I watched the first film, my days. So I get where King George. I'm like, you don't want to mess around with them folk there, like with demon entities like that. I'm calm, it's
That's what,
cool.
like
Let
the demons in the ground, blood. You don't want
They're
to play with
demons in
that,
the
blood.
crown blood. Like, nah, man. Like, I ain't, I'm doing a Jesus thing. I ain't messing around with no demons here, man. No one's gonna tempt me in the desert. No way. No way. So I get where King Durin's coming from because he's like, you don't know. Because obviously he's got all the all the stories that all your past men have been telling about these Balrogs. So he's like,
Yeah.
I don't think you could understand what the conundrum is here. You wake one of these lot up, we're finished.
Hmm.
And I think Prince Durin's only seeing the end goal. He's not seeing the little obstacles that could occur with that. Not even the very big obstacle that come in with achieving that goal. So yeah, it was very interesting. That's what made this episode slightly more enjoyable for me, because I like that whole dynamic of two people battling out with their ideologies of how they view the world. And
Yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
quite good.
and it's always interesting when look. You have to say that arguments are valid. I mean, just to add another layer to Prince Durin's point of view, there's the whole fact that he considers Elrond a brother, and when he takes over Khazad-dûm, he obviously wants to still have good relations with the elves of Lindon. That's his point of view. Like, he was going to talk about how the dwarves have like names, private names for themselves, and he was about to tell Elrond that. So that was a very clear, just an indication that this guy's his brother. Like, he absolutely loves him, would do anything for him. So yeah, but really interesting to see how this plays out. I don't know how or what it will take, because King Durin is obviously really stubborn. He's not going to change his mind anytime soon. He's effectively disowned his son. Um, so is he going to have to die? Like, is it a King Viserys thing? We need the king to die so shit can kick off. Like, I'm interested to see how that story resolves, because it does look like um, what's that thing called when you have an immovable object and unstoppable force? That's basically
Mm,
what it looks like.
what's
So,
going on here? Yeah.
mm, so yeah, really, really, really interesting dynamic. So we are going to the place that we didn't think would be number one. We didn't think it
Oh,
would be number one. So
Tinchy
we're joining.
Strider N Dub's number one. It was so good.
No, but, oh, I was about this. I was so close to singing, but they will never catch me singing on this podcast. Maybe if we have like a tipsy episode, like a bonus episode, then
Oh
maybe.
no,
But
no, no, we can't do that. No, for the listeners, yeah, I'm not gonna like, if you go to Gay Village in Manchester, I need you to be careful.
oh,
The alcohol is too cheap in that place.
oh my god.
I
Oh
was
yeah,
drinking for
yeah.
England, Wales, Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland. For the continent of Africa, I was drinking for everyone. Honestly, I would highly not recommend. I obviously won't say what I drank. There are other alcohol beverages available.
Yeah, I'll not speak about the Instagram story I saw. I'll be in big trouble,
Oh,
and I don't want to be in big trouble.
do you know that's not even the worst one? That wasn't even the worst one. There was very bad, bad videos.
You keep that to yourself, blood. Like, you keep that to yourself. As long as you had fun, that's the most important thing. As long as you had
In
fun.
this episode.
So, so we catch up with the Harfoots, obviously on their way to the Grove, their great migration thing, and it's obvious that even though it looks like they've been traveling like for ages, I guess you have to remember that these people are small. They've barely gotten away from the Southlands, so much so to the point that the debris from Mount Doom mash up their supplies. The apple tree they wanted to eat from and stuff. And what happens is that they find, this the stranger whose powers just increase every episode now can now heal trees and yield fruit and stuff. The guy is basically god to them. He fixed the whole area that had been covered with volcanic eruption, basically, which would usually kill off any land. And yeah, no, what did you think of that? A new power for the stranger as his arsenal of abilities increase.
It was very interesting because it was like a parallel to Adar and the orcs, and the way the orcs worshipped Adar as some sort of messiah almost.
Mm,
The Harfoots were beginning to sort of hold the stranger as some sort of messiah to
yeah,
them in that sense.
yeah,
Obviously, that was the most interesting thing, seeing like the parallel between what both characters were to the people around them. Evidently, two powerful people, and how they responded to it. The stranger, obviously, not wanting to use, his power against them. Obviously, Adar being one who was using it against them, and showing forth like, nah, like I'm gonna get busy. But yeah, it was actually really interesting seeing how OP the stranger was, and
Mm.
I think what I like about him is that there's almost a resistance of him wanting to have that power. He feels genuinely uncomfortable with what he's able to
Yeah.
do. And I find that quite interesting when someone is that powerful in comparison to whoever Sauron is and what's going on
Yeah.
in the Southlands. You've got someone who doesn't want the power he has, and he's
Yeah.
highly capable of beating the best of them on their best day, and he doesn't want it. He's genuinely uncomfortable. He'd prefer to be singing drunk songs with Nori and her family and like
Yeah.
chilling and not
Yeah.
doing any of this. And here he is being put in this position. He doesn't know where he is, what he's doing. He's just, he just knows Nori and her family, and he knows that he feels safe with them, and that's it. So yeah, I thought it was very interesting to see, and I actually quite liked the way they're showing how he can use his power, because they're not showing the full extent of it yet, and I'd rather not know yet. Like
Yeah.
what I hate, yeah, is that why I liked this is a sidetrack on another Amazon Prime show, Invincible, is that later down the line Mark is gonna be the guy, but it's actually
Oh
quite
yeah.
nice seeing him. But it's quite nice seeing him get beat up. So I'm like, it's not realistic that you automatically you get power and you come over. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Whereas with the
We,
stranger,
we do
like
need to see that growth. We need to see
we need to
the
see like
moral
the
the
moral.
moral crossroads and stuff like that.
Exactly, like building his character, like his morality, what he stands for, who he cares
Mm.
about. When how far, when will he go and use the wrong means to do the right things, like that sort of thing. I kind of like that we're seeing him slowly like show how powerful he is and what he's actually using it for. If he came down and all of a sudden, from what he was last episode, falling over drunk and doing all sorts of nonsense, not knowing who his name is, only knowing Nori, to like magically making the Southlands look pretty and all that stuff, I would have been really
Mm.
pissed off, because I'm like, what the hell is that? So
Yeah.
the
It
fact
would have been
that
way too
they're
much
using
too
it,
soon.
yeah, the fact they're using it in this way and saying like, no, he can't, like he's actually like starting to get a bit better at controlling his power. Because before, I don't think he would have been able to set like center his power to do one specific thing. If that
Hmm.
makes any sense. If this was 6 episodes ago, hey yo, someone is getting hit with whatever juju thing he's got going on there. Like
Yeah,
something
and
would
to be
have
fair,
gone
he still
wrong.
managed to injure someone. Remember, he still
And he
managed to
still
injure
managed,
them.
yeah, he still injured someone there. So, but it was not as bad as it would have been if it was 6 episodes ago, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and
I quite liked it.
yeah, and also quite interesting enough, this is the first time his powers weren't destructive. It was the first time he
It
was
was for good.
restore. It was restorative power for the first time. Because first it was ice and fire used in destructive ways. I know one time was accidental, another time was to defend them, but people got hurt. Even I mean to be fair, this healing and growing that he's doing was how do I put it? Yeah, just restorative and a bit more positive, even though it did still result in the injuries of people. But the funniest thing to me, I mean, like just sort of a side note, was like everyone accepts the stranger now. It's like, oh yeah, you got that, yeah, unlimited food, yeah. Come on in, come
Come
on
here,
in.
man. Come here, man.
It's like, oh, you, yeah, like, fam, it's like, honestly, because I've experienced this, honestly, when you turn up to play, like, for a new football team, seven-a-side or something, the man don't know you, they're just kind of, like, acting all, like, a bit mad, and then, fam, you score some banger, you see, like, how everyone becomes friendly, everyone's coming up to you, like, yeah, your name's Chizzy, yeah, like, all that kind of stuff.
Like, hey,
Uh,
girlfriend.
Oh, hey, nah. But you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I swear now, it's like that. It's like that. To be fair, I should have used the example of a banger because I'm a centre back. I don't score bangers like that. But you honestly, it was like, oh, he's a baller, yeah. Like, I'll have him. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and that's basically what happened. But obviously, we know that the school shooters are after them now. We still don't know who these people are, and that's why we're going to keep calling them school shooters. We went from thinking it was Sauron to necromancers, and now in this episode they're witches basically. Um, and I do like the way their powers of it seems to be teleportation are kind of shown. I do like, it's not like a, stupid bright light and then they go and then they appear somewhere. It's really clever camera work. I do like the way they do it. And then, they set the caravan and all their food on fire. And even the way they did that was really good effects. I did like, she puts out the flame, then takes the, like the sort of brimstone or burnt ash that comes from it, and it turns into flames everywhere. Now, whilst that was really cool, and the question is coming, was that necessary? Like, why did she do that? Like, don't get like. Obviously, they posed absolutely no threat to her. If it was a case that we have to, kill them to keep the stranger a secret, then they should have stopped and killed all of them. They just burnt their shit and left, and I was a bit it was cruel, but it didn't seem calculated. It seemed pretty pointless. I mean, what do you think happened there?
So the white people is Destiny's Child, yeah. Hey yo,
I,
that was not
I'm loving to
necessary.
see where this is going. Oh, we're calling
That
them
was
the
not
white Destiny.
necessary. What was that? We watched colonization live in action.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I
Yeah.
saw Christopher Columbus there. Why are you burning their shit for?
Just for nothing,
She wanted
bro.
to jump into the screen. She wanted to jump into the screen. Like, are you
Yeah.
dumb? Are you dumb?
Oh,
These people have done diddly squat too. They've been minding their damn business, yeah. They're going about their day, and they're not even doing any. What kind of these
they were
music
like completely
videos?
defensive as well. They didn't attack them. He just showed the light, the torch in their face, and said, "Look, just go away."
Just go that way. When I saw them burning their stuff, I thought, rotted. You lot are bad minds.
Yeah, it
But
was bad
they
mind
just
because,
they
like,
they did that for shits and giggles. They're like, you know what?
that's what
Let
I'm
me show
saying.
you. Let me show you what could really happen if you
Let me
mess
show
with
you
me.
my power, blood.
Let
Let
me
me
show
show
you
you
my
my power.
power. To quote Paul, was it really necessary?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Was it
You know,
necessary?
was that
I
necessary?
actually
Like,
was so offended. I felt like I was watching one of my boys
oh
get hurt.
man, oh man.
So is
But
this
this
is
is
this actually necessary?
but
It,
like, so in terms of story development and okay, we'll see. We'll see. I've got a few thoughts on this. The first thing is that one of the positives of this show is that even though the hobbits are Harfoots, sorry, are prominent, they have managed to keep them like side characters. Like it's not at a point where everything rests on them because that just wouldn't be halfling behavior.
I
It's not
give
like
them full. Yeah, you're right. I give them full props to that because me and you,
yeah,
from before the show even started, the one thing we were worried about was the Harfoot's prominence on the show because it completely dilutes exactly what happened in those books. Because the Hobbits doing what they're doing was crazy.
yeah,
So the
exactly.
fact that they've kept them as side plot characters and the person who's the most powerful person in that situation is not even a Harfoot, it's a stranger, whoever this person is. Yeah, I'll give them full props to that. Full props.
Yeah. So yeah, like I'm with it. But then we have so the next morning, and obviously everything's burned to shit. And I mean, to put it bluntly, they said, let's get the man that gives us free food back because I need that shit. And so they were like, yeah, we're going to go off the beaten path now. And yeah, go find him. And yeah, I like the way Nuri was about to go off on her own. Like they've always shown that she is the closest to a Baggins out of all of them in terms of their disposition to want to go out on an adventure. But we do get that surprise of other people joining. Like, oh, you need a guide, you need protection. Da, 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 da. So they're off on an adventure now, and uh, we will see what happens. But so their involvement, even though it's not a side plot, but one of my fears is we see it as a side plot right now because we don't actually know what the stakes are. All we've got is people basically chasing their meal ticket. You know them ones. I want custody so I can get the meal ticket in it. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what these men are doing. So until we know for sure what Destiny's Child wants, because this is their fourth name now. So we've gone from school shooters to necromancers, witches, and now they're Destiny's Child. We'll just, but the bad versions, obviously. Respect to them man over
Respect to
there.
Beyonce, Michelle, and Kelly.
Yeah, see, I'm not even. That's how someone from the Beyonce Hive will accidentally listen to this, and my name and address and everything
Yeah,
will be
I'm
leaked.
I'm
So
I'm Beehive man. Don't say nothing about that lovely, lovely woman.
I'm not challenging your power. It's probably more powerful than anything Sauron or Morgoth could do. That's for sure. I'm not even going to go there. So yeah, yeah. So, do you have any thoughts on them going on a? This is the classic Hobbit. We're going on an adventure thing. Any thoughts?
What them going on their little world tour. Um, I'm quite. Do you know what? It's quite funny because I'm like the only one with good intentions is Nori.
Yeah. Oh, she wants her friend. Everyone else is thinking about food. Well,
That's the
that's
thing
what it
about
is.
food.
Like, you can't tell me there's anything
She
else. Like,
said,
he's not made. There's no
"Yeah, you're
emotional
right."
connection with any of them. He only tried to speak to the thing for the first time because man saw apples. It was like, hey, yo, like, you're not
How can
so bad.
apples win you over? I needed to grow up. How can apples
Yeah,
win you
man. Where's
over?
the steak out? Where's the filet mignon? You know what I mean? Like,
Really,
what's
you know what I
what's
mean? Like, even if it
apples?
was like, I don't know, apples. Not even
Yeah,
mangoes, apples. Is this who we are?
man. Red granny apples was enough for this guy. So
Can you
anyway, it
imagine? They
is
should be
it is.
ashamed of themselves.
Do you know what? Maybe things are tough. Maybe things are tough. Who knows? But Ishai got them to go on an adventure. But unfortunately, we're no closer to knowing who the stranger is, what these people want with him. I mean, we can imagine he is some kind of weapon, even though it looks like these. It does look like Destiny's Child can take care of themselves. So we will see. We will see, and hopefully, we get some kind of answer in the next episode. So the final shot, we're just going to go back to the bloody Southlands. I can't believe this was a letdown for the last time, um, because you said something. You said something about. Sorry, I said something about not being entirely happy with the way it ended. That they showed it was Mordor. Now, one of the most cardinal sins in movie making or TV show making or rules. Sorry, one of the biggest rules you follow is show, don't tell. They Why did they write Mordor on my screen? I know it's bloody Mordor. I thought you did the reveal in the last episode. That's why it was so good. Because if like someone turned around and said, "Oh my god, it's Mordor," that would have been shit. No, all we needed to see was the mountain blow up. You showed how much ash was going everywhere. You were talking about how the orcs now have their own place. Like, we know this is Mordor. So I know you said you're happy with the scene, but I'm hating on it, man. Like, I think you've ruined a good thing, because even like the end of the episode, it's like a double reveal now. You told us that was more like you don't ah you told us that was Mordor. So what was that? And then you spelt it out. It's just you don't do it. Show us, your audience isn't stupid. Come on.
You know what? Now you've said that, you're right.
I was wondering, blood. You don't have to agree with me, but I was like,
No, no,
what?
I was wondering, but no, because you know what? The only reason why I liked it was because I don't know. I think I just like the way that it was written.
Ah,
I'm so
yeah,
simple-minded. But no, I mean, I think the only reason why I liked it was because I was trying to think on the aspect of if I didn't know, if I personally didn't know, because some people may be going in. That's what I was. So before, I actually did like it. Like I thought I didn't have it. I didn't have like a pure hatred for it. I wasn't in love with it either, but I kind of liked it.
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that's Mordor. Makes sense. But I kind of get at the same time, you are right, because I didn't think about what happened last episode. Is that it does defeat the purpose, because I think what happened at the end of last episode, like that was enough. Like that
this
was
is
enough. Because if they had that text in the end, actually, no, you're right. If they had the text in the end of the last episode, I think that would have been fine. I think that the
yeah.
text is, that whole thing is not really my issue. Yeah, now I'm thinking about, yeah, I figured they had that text. This is Mordor at the end of the last episode. That would have been like, oh, we're in the end game now. We in it now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I, at the same time, like, yeah, I wasn't, we're in Mordor now. We're in Sauron's land in that now. But the only thing I came to the end of the episode, where was the East Londoners? Where were they?
They should have. I told you the thing that killed this Southlands thing was that they weren't there. That was a good time to go fight. Like you're in your. Do you know what I mean? It's like these man went away to Anfield and somehow managed to transform it into their home ground, and they didn't do nothing, bruv. This is like
No,
your.
Anfield. This is the perfect description. You're going to Anfield, yeah, and you're bawling. Anfield Crowd is
Yeah.
quiet, yeah, and then you have no, this was a United game yesterday, yeah. How many times was that elderly man given chances to score? The Prime Minister, the Anthony Martial, like all these players were giving him chances. What did Nikki say? She was like, "Oh, it's like when someone does paper, like the airplane noises and trying to feed you food,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah, and
open your
that's still
mouth.
missing.
Yeah, you still
Oh,
missed it.
that was
So
that was
like,
crazy.
how many times? How many times?
Oh,
This, do you know how perfect it would have been to have one
oh,
orc? Like, even if it was just one, got to one of them. Do you know what I mean? Unless I didn't see the teaser for like the next episode. Unless they're facing the orcs in the next episode, then fair enough. But at the same
yeah.
time, Galadriel's going back off to the land of, to Numenor, isn't she not?
That's what I'm saying. I
So
don't know,
like you
Priscilla.
could have had the orcs in this episode mash up a few things, yeah. So then at
Mm,
least then it ties in with what happens in the third age a little bit. And then obviously then you can do the whole Galadriel and where's the Usador and yeah, because you can even have an orc kidnap Usador and that's where
yeah.
he's gone. Like something, because where were the East Londoners? Like where was my Danny Dyer? Where was it? I was so confused because even like because when Ilsador went missing and that I kept thinking an orcs must have gotten to him.
This is yeah.
Defo,
That's what I was
because
thinking. I was
we
thinking that
know, yeah, because we know he's alive because he's in the third age.
exactly.
So
So I thought it would have been an opportunity to maybe like very randomly. They never explained that voice that was in his head that they just put in that horrible episode. I thought maybe they could have revealed something there. Maybe the fact he was in Mordor, maybe he could have had some kind of vision to see what's to come because he's missing, but we know he's not dead. The character that you should have made missing is Halbrand because we don't know if he's like genuinely injured or he's up to no good. Like, and they just missed the trick here, and that's why this episode ended up falling so flat. So what I want to do here is maybe a bit more of a clean break than usual. I don't want us to speculate on what the last episode is going to be like. We're just going to let them run with it, and we're going to see what's going to happen. But what we will do is make the ratings of this episode official. So, Priscilla, episode 7, season 1, what are you giving it out of 10?
6 or 6.5.
Okay. 5.5. I'm sorry. I'm nah. Because not only did it fall flat, I felt that there were just so many missed opportunities. I just yeah, it just could have been better, especially after giving me that high of
Of last
episode.
week.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
We've been
Oh, rings of
actually we've
power. What are you gonna do? Do
we've been so bad vibes. I sincerely apologize, guys. I did not have a bad day today. I had a very good day. I had KFC. I was enjoying myself today. So it was just this episode.
Yeah, no,
At least it
look.
made you
You
laugh.
got look.
We've made you laugh.
Anyone that's listening to us, I have a feeling that they would agree. That's the thing. I don't think we've been too wild with our what we've said. we were definitely 100 million% ready to give the show a chance as well. And I'm not saying that it's failed. Look, there was an encouraging interview from the show makers last week. I don't know if any of you caught it, where they were saying that they are trying to construct a world with this season, and that season two things will start moving a lot quicker. Almost like they knew that they might get this reception. So
Oh, do you
let's
know
see.
what? Then fair
Yeah.
enough, fair enough. Because I think what I've always said with this show is I'm gonna give it the same grace I give most shows like fantasy shows like this. I always
Mm,
give them about 2 or 3 seasons.
yeah.
Because by the mid second season, I have to have like that's enough time for me to sort of, you know what I mean, to form an opinion of what is good. And I know that they're going for the world building thing, and I know they're going for it. And I think, like you said, now I know because I didn't know they said that. I feel like they probably were aware and were anticipating people were going to complain. So if
Mm,
obviously if the second and third and fourth and fifth season, like, because now they won't have no excuse because we know all these characters now. Now you can go hell for leather and just build on everything that's been happening. So if that's what they're doing and it pays off for them, then great. It pays off for them. Then at least then they've got something to work with. Because right now it's like feeling like the first 4 episodes of Breaking Bad, which were quite slow.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it
Which
feels like.
quite famously had a very slow start. Like, in fact, to be completely honest with you, most people got onto Breaking Bad because of how crazy season four was, and then everyone
Yeah,
went back, and it was
we watched
slow,
it from the
but
beginning.
people knew that now, but we know something mad is happening, and that's why we're going to stick with it. Like Breaking Bad, I don't know. I would love to see the story of the numbers, because I am very confident that they didn't even have up to half of the viewers that they had by the time the show officially came to an end. There was no way someone woke up and said, "Yeah, I'm watching this. I'm watching the first episodes of this thing, and I can't wait to the next episode."
Yeah,
And
that's literally
I'm
that's what
praying.
happened with that's what exactly what happened with Game of Thrones. A lot of people came into
Yeah,
it
that's
season
true.
3, season 4. Like they weren't in the trenches like we were in the trenches with it. Like a lot of people
Yeah,
came
yeah. Oh, because I
Red
mean, I was
Wedding.
there. No, episode one. Obviously, I was
I was
involved,
there,
but
but
Loki, because
yeah,
we kind of knew what was coming.
for
You know,
season
like
3, Red Wedding. I remember this. The amount of YouTube reaction to the Red Wedding because it was a word of
yeah,
mouth
it was those
situation.
reactions. It was those reactions
Yeah.
that said, "Yo, what is this show?"
So I think
So many
Rings of
people started watching
Power,
because of that.
exactly. So I think Rings of Power is it's even the same as the Mandalorian is another perfect example of it. A lot of people
Yeah,
started watching the Mandalorian based on the end of that first season. They weren't there from the beginning of it. By the end, towards the end of that season, everyone's like, "Oh, wait a second! Like this whole space guy who's trying to be a dad thing is actually pretty decent." So I feel like that's where um what do you call it, this if this show gets it right, and because obviously now the one thing I'll give them credit for, the writers and everyone and the producers and the bold man who runs the company, credit for is that they've built this world successfully now.
yeah.
They've built it now. So this at this point I can say I know the dynamics in every single place in Middle Earth now.
Yeah,
I know the relationships between the characters. I know who I like. I know who I don't like. Even the ones who I don't like, I can understand their them at their core. There's even people like Farrell we've not even tapped into yet, but we know what he's about. Like I
yeah.
know where they can take things. So I'll give them that because the one main things I wanted to come out with at the end of the season was that I know exactly where I stand with all the
Mm,
characters and where and what directions things could go in, and I understand the world now. And then if someone else who's not read the the lore or watched the films or read the books and did all three like me and you did, then
yeah.
they will know what's going on. So I'll give them that. I'll give them that. But yeah, hopefully, I hope to God it's a Breaking Bad scenario where the first season is slow and then everything kicks off. Because they will have
Yeah,
no excuse in the second and third season because you've now have successfully built a world. They've successfully built a world now and made people connect with characters that doesn't exist in the lore. You did it perfectly now. Sorry, like let's get shit cracking. Like I want people
and there are
dying.
major events that we know are coming up where, okay, maybe this is the point that, you know, like the way people get into things these days is through clips. Um, I want people to see whenever they're going to do it, the sinking of Numenor, and be like, yo, what is this show? I need to watch this shit. How did we get here? I think the Battle of the Last Alliance would be going way too far because it's like, okay, the show's basically over now. So you're saying, we had to wait 7 years for it to peak or whatever. That would be too much. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. So I think that wraps up another episode. So this has been Popcorn for Dinner, the podcast Rings of Power with Chiazo and Priscilla. Priscilla, do you want to give out any of your social media?
Yeah, Twitter, it's my name, but with an X instead of the first IDK at the end, and I'm trying to remember. Oh, and also Fabian Frankel, call me. He's not on this bloody show. He's on House of the Dragon. He's 5'7". I don't care. I need him to call me pronto.
Oh
I
my
don't care
god.
who plays that guy. I don't like Kristen. I don't like Kristen. I don't like him, but I could take him.
Jesus.
That's what I've got to say.
No comment, no comment. I myself, you can find me at Chizzy, that's ChizzYVII on Twitter and Instagram. All I do is write about my feelings and cry about Arsenal. Come and
You're just
join me
laughing
if
about
that's
Arsenal
the sort
now.
of thing you're into. Huh?
You're laughing
What
about
did you
Arsenal
say?
now. Top of the league.
Yeah, no, we are top of the league. I don't know. I find a reason to cry in it. There's always something to be upset about. Life of a football fan. Read my write ups too. Right. I think that wraps it up. Thank you ever so much. And we will see you all soon. Cheers and goodbye.
Bye.